Welcome to another project. In this project, we're going to create a real estate website using a headless CMS. As you can see from the final version, which you can have access to from this link, sahan-state.100jsprojects.com, we have here a title in the home page, then we have an image, we have recent listings, we have only 4 of them here. We're going to create some beautiful cards for that, which includes the image of the listing, title, address, description, price, the number of beds, and bath. So we're going to create a separate component for handling the cards here. Then we have the recent places for rent and recent places for sale. Each of these listings, they have their own individual page. When we click on it, we see the image at the top. We have the title of the listing, price, address, the tag, description, beds, and bath. Also, we have a separate page for about, then we have for rent. So all the rents listings are available here. Then we have the place for sales, and also we have all the listings in this page. We're going to use the latest version of Next.js and Tailwind CSS to create this page. The front end is going to be Next.js and the styling would be Tailwind CSS. But for the backend, we're going to use a headless CMS called OneEntry, which is the sponsor of this video. It's very easy to create the backend using OneEntry. They're going to provide you with the database as well as storage. Also, you can use OneEntry for handling your authentication, notification, the events, and etc. It's very secure and it's very easy to use. I'm going to show you how to create the menus, the product page, and etc. here. If you look at the final version, you can see even this menu is dynamic and is created by the headless CMS. So we can easily change the items here and also the name of them using the OneEntry. And also, they're going to provide you with multiple services, so you don't need to worry about different things like storage and etc. We're going to use their npm package to handle the requests and fetching from their servers. I'm going to show you how easy it is to handle these requests and using their npm package. The source code of this project is available in this GitHub repository with this address, and also the final version is provided here. You can download the code yourself from here, or you can just clone it and use it in your own computer. In the next section, I'm going to show you how to create the menus, pages, and catalogs using OneEntry. So we're going to configure it, and I'm going to show you how to easily sign up and create your own account and use it for free to create this project. So see you in the next section for the headless CMS configurations. All right, we start our project by signing up in OneEntry website. So in the Google, we just search OneEntry. We just go to the website oneentry.cloud. Here, you can sign up using your phone number, and you just need to fill up the form here. You need your name, email, and phone number. I already have an account, so I'm going to just log in. Once you're inside your OneEntry dashboard, you can just go to projects, and here we can just create a new project. You just need to put the name of the project. For example, I just call it Sahan State. You can create a subdomain name. And if it's available, you can see the check mark here, and then you just need to choose the plan we need to use. Once you sign up, you get a coupon code for a study plan, so you can get it for free and you can use it for 1 month. That is enough for creating projects that we are similar to the one we are creating today. But if you want to have a bigger project with more features, you can use the basic plan, which includes the events like push notifications, email and WebSocket notifications, and user activation. Also, you can have 2 administrators instead of 1. You can have 1-day backups And also you can have 500 requests per second instead of 15. For the database, you can have 5,000 instead of 1,000 records, and you can have 5 maximum uploaded file size in megabyte instead of 2. And also you have 5 gigabyte of storage instead of 500 megabyte. As you may know, you can use OneEntry for a storage as well, which is very convenient to create your project. And also you have 3 gigabytes of RAM instead of 1, which helps you to have a faster website. So here we just choose the study plan, and you can just put your promo code here, which you receive when you sign up for the first time. I just put mine here. As you can see, I got a free 1 month. Also, you can add your own domain names, which we don't need here. So we just click here on create. This is going to take about 7 minutes to create. So I'm going to pause the video and come back. All right, the project is ready and it's working. Let's click on it. And here we can see all the information about our project. For accessing that, you need to just click on here, access. And this is the link for our project. We can just click here. Here we need to put our username and password. So they actually send you through the email the information for the login. Let me just put the password here and we can click on enter. So now we are inside our management system of the applications. So the first thing we need to do is to create the pages. So we just go to pages. So here we can create all the pages that is inside our project. For example, if you look at the final version, we have a home page, we have about page, rent, sell, and listings. So we're going to create these 5, and then we can use these pages and also use them inside our menu. So these menu, as you can see here, they're actually dynamic. What I mean by that is we can just change this menu easily inside our CMS. So easily, instead of checking your code, instead of changing your code and deploy it again, we can just simply go to our CMS, go to pages and add another page, or we can change our menu, and this is going to be different in our final website. So here, for example, I'm going to create a new page. First, I want to choose a usual page for my home page and about page. So that the page title is going to be home, and the URL, I just say home. So how do you want to show it inside the menu? As I said here, whatever you want to say here, home page or whatever you want to say, you just write down here. I just write down home. And we just click somewhere, and this is going to save it for us. And we can just go back and create a new one. So let's create one more for usual page, for about page. So this is going to be title, the URL is going to be about, and then the name for the menu is going to be about as well. And then we're going to have another one for our places for rent and sell. So let's create another one. This is going to be a catalog pages because it includes the products, and in our case it's listings. So the title is going to be, for example, places for rent, and then the URL is just going to be rent, and then for the menu I just say rent. So I can just duplicate this one for the sale. We can edit that. So this is going to be places for sale. This is going to be sell, and this one sell. So the last thing I want to create is for all the listings. So let's duplicate this one again. So this is going to be all listings. The page URL is going to be listing. And then for the menu, I just say listings, but capital. This one's listings as well. Okay, so that's enough for the pages. After creating the pages, we want to create our listings, but before creating the listings, we need to create some attributes for them. For example, here, if you look at one listing here in the final version, it has some attributes like title, it has price, it has address, description, the number of beds, and bath. So we need to have some attributes and then create each listing. So let's go back here and then we just go to setting, and here we're gonna add some attributes. So let's put a name here. We just call it listing. For example, attributes set. Let me just put some underline here. For the marker, I choose the same one, and for the type, we need to choose the products, and we just click on create. So in order to add the attributes, we just need to go here to the setting, and then here we can add our new attribute. For example, the first one is going to be a title. The marker is going to be title. For the type, we're going to use a string because it's just going to be a plain text. And just, we are going to create it. The next one is going to be description. Type is going to be string. Then we have price. And the attribute type is going to be float, which means it's going to get some numbers. After the price, we're going to have bed and bath. I think I've encountered some problem. Let's try again here. Okay, so let's create the next one, which is bed. This is going to be float, bath. Then we're going to have type, because the type of the listing, it can be rent or sale. So for the type of this type is going to be list, because it includes rent or sale. So we're going to use list here. And then once we choose the list, we need to mention which list we want to use. So we go to setting of the list, and here we're going to add our options. So the first option is going to be rent. So the name is going to be rent, the value is rent. Then we have sale. Okay, let's go back. And after creating the type, we need to create image here. We just say image. The marker is going to be image, and the type is going to be, you can, the good things about OneEntry is you can choose one single image or the group of images. So we can have more than one image. And they also provide you with the storage, so you don't need to worry about it. So you just directly upload all your images inside OneEntry CMS. So I'm going to choose group of images. And the final things I want to add, I think I missed address, which is going to be a string. So those were our attributes. After adding the attributes, now we can create our listings. In order to add the products, we can just go to catalog, and we want to add it to all listings, but we want to choose an extra for rent and sale. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So here we're going to click on add. For example, I want to add some listing. I can just go to the final version. For example, I want to just create this one. So the title is going to be this. And after that, we're going to go to category. After the save is done, we want to choose the places for rent or sale. So this place is for rent. As you can see, it's 1,200 per month. So we just say places for rent. So this is going to be inside the places for rent and all listings. Then we go to the attributes. We're going to choose what sort of attribute we want to use. If you just remember, we have created a set of attributes, and we're going to select it here, listing attribute set. And once we choose it, we see all the attributes that we have created before. So the title is going to be here, the same one I have copied, Modern Loft. And then we're going to have the price. Price is going to be here. Let's copy the description. The number of beds, for example, I just say 3, bathrooms 2. Type is going to be rent. I can choose it here. We need this one later to dynamically create such a thing. For example, for rent, I want to say 1,200 per month. But for sale, I don't want to have this part. So I'm going to create a conditional statement using this type attribute that we have added here. this type attribute. Then we want to upload an image. I just want to choose one image here, for example, this one. And for address, I just want to copy this address. As you can see, our image is uploaded. Even you can edit your image. You can just click and edit it. So I want to choose this one. You can just, for example, change the image magnification, how much you want to zoom. You can change the position of X or Y, many things, even you can rotate it and etc. So I just leave it like that. And once you click somewhere, it's going to save it for you. And you can come back here in your catalog. You can see it inside the places for rent and also all listings here. So we have our first product. Let's create another one for the sale. So we can have two products with a different type, and then we can just move on to go and create somewhere else like menu and etc. So I'm gonna add another all listing, and this is going to be this for sale. I'm gonna go to the sale of the final version. I'm gonna copy the information from this one. For the category, we just choose places for sale. We go to attribute, we choose our attribute set, and then we're gonna add everything else. All right, this was for the address. So we have created our second listing, which is inside our sales. And for sales, now we have one, and in the all listings, we have two listings. After creating the listings, we want to create our menu. We just go to menu here, and I want to just call this menu main menu, and then we can just add it, and we can just edit it here. Let's check again. Okay, so let's just put the name here. All right, so we have name, marker is name, main. We need the marker when we are fetching it. Then we can choose whatever we want and add it to our menu. For example, I want all of them. So I'm going to choose all of them to be included in my menu. If you don't want one of them, you can just simply untoggle that. So that was it for creating our listings inside the OneEntry. The last things we want to do is to get our token, because we want to connect to the correct database. And in order to create a token, you just need to go to the setting, app tokens. You just put a name for it. For example, I call it Sahand State. And then I just want to create that. So this one is going to have a token. So we can just copy it and put it in our environmental variable, because we want to keep it safe from other people to see our code. I'm going to show you later when we create our application using Next.js how to add this token. So in the next section, we're going to create our application, the Next.js application, and we're going to install Tailwind CSS, and also we're going to have our pages and routes. So see you in the next section. All right, in this section, we're going to install Next.js and Tailwind CSS and create our first template. So what I want to do is to create firstly a folder in my desktop. I just call that one the name of our project. For example, OneEntry State. And then I'm going to open the Visual Studio Code using this folder. As you can see, the default folder here is OneEntry State. And here we're going to install Next.js. So let's go to Google and search for Next.js. So in the search results, we go to nextjs.org, and then we're going to go to the Get Started section. Here we go to the installation, and we just use this utility, create next app latest, to install the latest version of Next.js. I'm going to copy this, go back to Visual Studio Code. Let me just do this one later. Let's open the terminal. We go to View, Terminal, And here we're gonna paste this code. So it's going to ask us to install the following package. We just say yes. And then they want to ask us for the project name. If you choose a project name, this is going to create an extra folder for you. So we want to avoid that because we already have created the folder. So I'm just want to put period here. And we don't want to use TypeScript. String is fine. Tailwind CSS, yes. We want to use src directory, yes. And apt router, which is recommended. Then for the import alias, I'm just going to use the default one, which is @/star. So this is going to create the first files and folders, and it is going to install dependencies like React, React Next, and for the Tailwind CSS, we're going to have these for the dev dependencies. All right, the installation is completed. We can just run npm run dev to run the application. As you can see, it's on localhost 3000, 2001. You can just keep the control and click here to open it in our default browser, which in my case is Google Chrome. And as you can see, we got the first template from Next.js, but in order to edit it, we just need to edit this file inside the src folder app and page.js. So let me bring this one to the right side and this one to the left side so we can see the changes in real time. So we go to src and app page.js, and we can just completely delete everything and we can replace it with the React functional component using RFC snippet. Now we just call this one home. And if you refresh this page, you can see we just have home. And as you can see, we have just some weird styling. This is because of the default styling of Next Tailwind CSS. We can just get rid of it by going to global.css and we delete everything here except the first 3 lines. So now we have this home here. If you want to be sure that Tailwind CSS is working, we can just go here and just add a class name here. For example, we can change the color to text red, for example, 600. And if you see the change, it means that installation is completed. The next step we need to do, because we want to deploy this application when we complete it to the internet, we want to add this one to the GitHub repository. And once we complete it, we want to deploy that one to a platform like Vercel. So here we should go to GitHub and we go to github.com. Make sure you are signed in here and you can add a new GitHub repository by clicking on this plus icon. So here we just say create a new repository. I just want to call it, for example, OneEntry Estate. And we just create a description for that, a real estate website using Next.js and OneEntry. And we can just keep it public and create this repository. So we just scroll down here, we copy this code to add this inside our VS Code. We want to add that. So we can just add a new terminal and paste that code. Then we need to create a branch. And finally, we can push all the codes inside the GitHub repository by git push origin. So now if you refresh this page inside the GitHub repository, we can see all the code is uploaded here. So you can come to this address, OneEntry Estate, and just check here the code if you want to just follow the instruction and the things. And also, I'm going to put this final version here. So if you want, you can just come and check this website to be familiar with the final version. All right, that was it for installing Next.js and Tailwind CSS and creating the first template. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have installed Next.js and Tailwind CSS and created the first template. In this section, we're going to create the pages and routes. So if you look at the final version, we can see we have this home page, and we have about page, a page for all the rents, all the recent places for rent. We have the sale page, and we have all the listing page. Plus each listing, if you click on it, it has a separate page. For example, here we see /listing and the ID of the listing, which is in this case is 1. So we're going to create all these pages. I'm going to show you how to do it. So we go back to Visual Studio Code. So our home page is already created. This is page.js, and we have this home. So this is the home page. And then we want to create other pages. For example, we need to go to the folder called app, and then we're gonna create, for example, creating the about page, we need to just have a folder called about, and inside this folder we're going to have a file called page.js or page.jsx. It can be both. And we can just use RFC to create a React functional component and just call it about. So now if we go to our application and then we go to /about, we can see now we get the about. So the page is created. So let's create the other pages. For example, we have a listings, rent, sale. So let's create them one by one. For example, rent, and a file page.jsx. We call it rent. Let's create another one for sale. So the next one is going to be for all the listings. So we call it listings. And we want to have a dynamic page. If you remember, we have created a page for 1, and then we can have listing /2. We go to another listing page. So in order to create a dynamic one, we need to have an extra folder here. So first we have a folder called listing, which is the /listing, and then / ID. After that, we need to create another folder here, and we call it a bracket, and inside we just say ID. Then we're going to have that page.jsx. And this is going to be, for example, listing page. Okay. So now let's test. So we have about page, we have rent, we have sell listings, and we have listing / for example, 3. So as you can see, it's a listing page. All right, that was it for creating the pages and routes. So let's just add this one to the GitHub. So this is all the changes that we have done. We can just press this plus icon, and we can just create a message. We just say create pages and routes. So we can commit and push to the GitHub. So if you go to GitHub now and we go to commits, we can see the new commit is created. So if you have some problem with your code, you can come here and check the new commit and compare your code with the one here. So in the next section, we're going to complete the header of our website. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have created the pages and routes. In this section, we're going to work on completing the components related to the header of our project. So header is, if you pay attention, is always at the top in all the pages. If you change the pages, you still can see the header at the top. So we're going to create a component and actually add it to our layout. So in this case, we can have it in everywhere. So let me show you what I mean by that. First, we go and create a header component. So in src folder, I want to create another folder called components. And here I'm going to create a component called header.jsx. Let's create a React functional component. And now in order to see this one in all pages, we need to add it to our layout.js. So here, before the children is all pages. So before the children, we can just add that header component. We can auto import it and complete it here. So now if you go to the final version, we can see the header is here in the listing page. If you go to the home page, we can see that still the header is at the top. So let's complete this page. If you just remember, we have created the menus inside our CMS. So here we have the menu, and this is called main. And inside this main, we're gonna have all our menus. So we don't need to hard code it in our project. We can just fetch this data from OneEntry and loop through them and show them inside our header. So in order to save time, I'm gonna just paste the code here for our header.jsx, and then I'm gonna explain them line by line. For the styling, if you remember, we have created these projects before as a main project. So I've explained all the styling, and the styling is very similar. So I'm not gonna explain these class names related to the Tailwind CSS, but the codes related to OneEntry, I'm gonna explain. So if you remember, in OneEntry, we have a token which we have copied from here. The setting app token, we have created a token called sand state, and we can just copy this one and put it inside an environmental variable inside our code. So here I'm gonna create a .env.local file, and I just want to create a public next token. So we just say next underline public, all capital, underline OneEntry underline token. Okay, so we just paste our token that we have copied from our setting. So now, if you come back to header.jsx, as you can see here, we need to add our OneEntry URL. If you remember, we have created a URL here, which was sahandestate.oneentry.cloud, which you can get from here inside your dashboard. So we can copy this one and paste it here. So yours might be different because this is unique. And we pass our token, which is we can get from the .env.local process.env.nextPublic OneEntry token. So first we import define OneEntry from OneEntry. So in order to have this one, we need to actually install OneEntry. So I'm gonna clear this terminal, and here we're gonna install OneEntry. So in order to find that, we can just go to npm, and here I'm gonna search for OneEntry package because we want to use the npm version of the OneEntry. As you can see, we have OneEntry SDK. This is the official one. We need to install it, and the version I'm gonna use is 1.0.74, which is the latest version. And we can just copy this code and go back to Visual Studio Code and paste it here to install OneEntry. So now we have OneEntry here. We're gonna get the menus. So we just say const menus, define OneEntry, we pass the URL, and we pass our token. And here we can get the menus by using this menus.get menus by marker. And if you remember here, if you go to menu, the marker for our menu was main. So here we have to pass the main. And once we pass it, we get the menus. And here we're gonna loop through all the menus, all the pages inside the menus. We map through it, we get each page, and we show it as a link here. And here I just said, if the page URL is home, go to the home page, which is /. Otherwise, we just go to that page URL. So if you remember here, for home, we had home, about was about, and places for rent was /rent. So we're gonna use / for the name of the page URL, except for the home one. And here we're going to show the title. So now if you go to our website, we can see we got the menu here, home, about, and if you click on it, we go to that a specific page. For example, rent is going to go to / rent. Home is the home page, which is just the / listing is / listing. And I think it should go to listings. I made a mistake in the one entry. Let's modify that. We can go to pages and all listing is here. And the page URL, I'm going to change it to listings. That's it. And now if you go to our website, you go back and click on listings, it's going to go to / listing. As you can see, that's the benefit of using this CMS. Whatever change you want to do, you don't need to change your code anymore. You just go to the CMS and do the modification. You want to change the title, everything you can do here. All right, that was it for adding the header section. Let's add this one to the GitHub. So here we can see the changes and we can just say complete or add the header of the project. And we can commit and push. In the next section, we're going to create that a specific page for each listing. We're going to fetch data for each listing. We're going to show this image. We get the title and other information of the listing. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have completed the header component of our project. In this section, we're going to work on the single listing page and create them. So I'm going to just save time. I'm going to paste the code and explain line by line instead of typing it. So in our code, you remember we create a single page by just creating a folder called listing and then ID and then the page. So let me paste this code. So what we do is first we import the OneEntry. So we can just use it to get all the listings, or we can call it products. And also I have imported some icons from React Icons. So in order to use the React Icons, we need to install React Icons. So I'm just going to say npm install React-icons. And we got the products here. We use the define OneEntry, and also we need to pass our URL. So the URL is here. We can copy and paste it here, and we pass the token. And here, in order to know which page we need to fetch, we need to get the params. Params gives us the ID, which is this ID in the bracket. So for example, if we are in listing /4, that params is going to give us this params.id is going to give us this 4. So we know that we want to fetch the number 4. And we use the method called getProductsById. So we got the products here, and then here we use this method. We pass the ID to get that specific listing, and we call it listing here. As you can see, I just console log that listing. So now we don't have 4. We have 2 listings. So we just have 1 and 2. So if I just go to 1, as you can see here, we got the console log. We got all the information related to that listing, including the bed, bath, type, which can be rent or sell, but this is rent. And then we have the image. If you remember, we have uploaded images. So we have the download link here, and we have the price, title, address, description. So we have all the information. We get it inside this listing.attribute values. Okay. And then we just say if there is no listing with that code, for example, we have 1 and 2. If we have 3, we get this status code equals to 4. So if it's not equal to that one, so I'm going to show the listing. First, I want to show the image. the source is going to be listing.attributevalues.image.value.download link, as I shown here. This download link inside the value and image, and here is the attribute value. So we get this image URL and put it inside the source, so we can see it here at the top. Then we have the title, which is listing.attributevalue.title.value. We get it here. Then we have the price. We get the value. And also I made it two local string because I want to, if it's more than more digits we have, we want to add comma between them. So we're going to convert them with this code. And we want to check if the type is rent, we want to show /months. Otherwise, we want to remove that one. So in the other listing, the listing number 2, which is a sale, we have this price without saying /months. So this is for that one here. And then we want to have the address, which is shown here. And we can get it from listing.attributevalues.address.value. And finally, we want to create, let me go here. We want to show this a label, which is for sale or for rent. So we want to check if this the type is equal to rent. We want to say for rent. Otherwise, we want to say for sale. And then we want to show the description. So description is going to be similar. Attributes value, description.value, and then number of beds and number of baths. So listing.attributes.bed.value. If it's 1 bed, we just say 1 bed. If it's 2, we just say 2 beds. So this is the condition I have added here. So that was very simple. So we used that OneEntry. We just got the information, we got the products, and then we search through the products by their ID. We pass the ID which we get from the URL, and we get the listing. And then we have shown the listing accordingly. All right, so that was it for creating the listing page. So let's add this one to the GitHub. So here we just say complete the listing page. So we can commit and push. So in the next section, I feel we can just complete rent, sale, and listing. They are very similar to each other. So we can create it in one section. Also, we can complete the about page. And after that, we're going to deploy our application to Vercel. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have completed the listing page. In this section, we're going to work on completing the other pages like rent, sale, and listings, which are very similar. Let's start with the listings page. So let's go to listings folder page.jsx, and I'm going to paste the code here and explain it to you. So first thing first, we need to create another component called listing item, because if you look at the final version, we can see that each listing is included in a card, which is created separately. So I'm going to create another component called, let's create, not here, listing item.jsx. Let's just now put the React functional component, and then let's come back to our listing page. And here, as you can see, we imported that listing item. We imported the find one entry, and we need to pass the URL. I can get it again from here. Here, we paste it here. We get the products. We pass the token, and then we're gonna fetch data with this method, get products by page URL. If you remember here inside the Headless CMS, each page has a URL, page URL. And then we have the same URL. We want to fetch the data. For example, if you want all listings, we want to pass this page URL. So, and the URL for the all listing is listings, like this. And then we get all of them. We call it all listings. And here we're gonna check if there is a listing or listing and the length is more than 0. Then we want to loop through it, get each listing, and then we want to pass it to that listing item that we're gonna complete. Okay, now let's complete the listing item. So for the listing item, let me paste the code and I'll explain it to you. So we just got the listing as the import, as the input here. And then we want to, if we click on the card, we want to go to this address, /listing/listing.id. And then we want to have an image at the top. So if you look at the final version, we can see we have an image at the top. Then we have title, we have the address, we have the description, price, number of bits, and path. So first we have the image. We pass the data inside the src, which is listing.attributes.image.value on download link. If this one is not available, if the listing doesn't have any image, we just have an alternative source. And then we're gonna have the title here, the location or address. Then we have the description and we have the price. And if the price is for a rent, we want to add the /months at the end. So we're going to check if the title, the type is rent, we want to make it /months at the end. And then we're going to have the number of bits and path. And based on the number of bits, if it's more than 1, we want to say bits. If it's less than 1, we want to just say bit. And for the path, we do the same thing. Let's check this page now. Let's go to the website and then we go to listings. Let's click on it. Now we can see all the listings that we have added to our application inside the CMS. If you check again inside the catalog, we can see that inside the all listing, we have 2 listings. This Modern Loft and Charming Log, which we can see here. The other pages like rent and sell is going to be very similar. And then let me just grab the codes and I just explain the difference. So we go just to Visual Studio Code. For the rent, for example, we go to page.jsx. I'm going to paste the code. Just the things we need to do is to change this URL. We get it from here, paste it here. And here, just the page URL is going to be different, which is going to be rent. And then everything else would be similar. We just get all the listing related to the rent and we put it inside this variable and we loop through it and show it inside the listing item. Let me show it here. So if you go to the rent, now we can see we have only 1 listings, which we get from here. We have 1 listing for the rent, this one. Let's do the same things for the sale. We just go to our code, page.jsx inside the sale folder. I just need to change this URL. I'm going to grab this code and put it here. So we get the products with this method. We just pass the URL, which is sale, and then we get the listings here and map through it and pass it to the listing item. Let's see. So we go to sale. Now recent places for sale, which is this one. And if you check the CMS, we can see exactly we are getting here. So if we now add another listing, this is going to automatically add it to our website. We don't need to change our code or anything else. That's the benefit of using this OneEntry CMS. I think that's it for this section. We can just complete the about section as well. There's nothing difficult about this page. I'm just gonna grab the code and put it inside this about page.jsx and then paste it here, which is kind of some header and 3 paragraphs. Nothing fancy. You can see it here. So that was it for creating these pages. So let's add this one to the GitHub. So we have completed these pages. We just say complete rent, sale, listings, and about pages. We can commit and push. In the next section, I think the only thing that is left is this homepage. We're going to complete the homepage and make it like the final version with some heading, an image, and we're going to fetch the data for all listings, prices for rent, and sale, and put it here. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have completed all these 4 pages about rent, sale, and listings. In this section, we're going to work on the home page. So like we did similarly before, I'm just want to grab the code and put it here and explain it. It's very similar to the previous one. So inside the app page.js, inside the app directory, so let me close everything. So if you open the src app and then page.js, we're going to paste this code and I'll show you. So we have all imported that listing item component that we have created. And also we have imported that define one entry. I just need to change this URL to the URL that we have. Then we get the products, and based on the URL, we want to get 3 things. So if you look at the final version, you can see we need to get all the listings, places for rent, and places for sale. So 3 requests we need to have. So one for rent, sale, and listings. We just call them different names: rent, sale, listing, and all listings. And then we're gonna just loop through them and put them there. At the top, we just have some text, like we want to have these titles. There's nothing fancy about them, just some headers and some styling. And we have a link tag to the listing page. And then we're gonna have all listing at the top. So here we're gonna loop through the all listing and get to each of them and pass it to the listing item. Next, we have the rent listings. We're gonna just loop through them and pass it. And finally, we have for the sale listing, which we do the same things. So as you can see, we have all of them here, 1, 2, 3. And if you look at the final version, we can see them here. All listings, we only have 2. For the places for rent, we have 1. And for sale, we have 1. So, and then if you click here, we just go to /sale, for example. And here we go /listings. You can see all of them. So it's very simple to use OneEntry. You just need to get the define one entry. You get the products, and then based on that, you're gonna have some different methods like get products by page URL, or if you want to get a single one, like here, we can use that get products by ID. And if you want to get just the menu, like the one we did in the header, we just say get menus by marker. So that's it. These are the things we use in our project. So that was it for our projects. In the next section, we're going to deploy our project to Vercel so we can use it and share it with others, or you can put it in your portfolio. So see you in the next section. Before going to the next section, I forgot to add this section to the GitHub. So this is going to be complete the homepage. Okay. So see you in the next section for the deployment part of the project. All right, in the last section, we have completed our project. We have created and completed our homepage. In this section, we're going to deploy it to Vercel so we can share it with others. So we go to Google and search for Vercel, and we go to vercel.com. You can just log in to your dashboard. I have already logged in. It's free to use, and we can just create here. We just add new and create a new project. And if you connect your GitHub repository to the Vercel, you can see your latest, for example, for mine, OneEntry state. I just deployed 4 minutes ago. So I know this is the project I'm working. So here I can automatically import it from GitHub. So when I click on import, and here I can just add my environmental variable, which if you remember, we have added the token the OneEntry token here. So we need to just grab that and paste it here as a name, and we get the token. We put it here. There's nothing else to change. We can just click on deploy. So this is going to take a while. If there is no problem, we're gonna deploy it successfully. Otherwise, you can see the logs here and see the problem of your code. You can fix it accordingly. All right, the deployment has been finished. As you can see, it took 44 seconds. Now we have our website in few domains. The main one is this one. You can change the domain name. Let's try this one first. So as you can see, the domain name is just oneentry-state.vercel.app. So it's working. As you can see, we have all our pages: homepage, about page, rent, sell, and listings. You can easily change this domain name by just going to, I think you need to just come back here. You go to domain, and then we can just edit it. You can add a new domain, or you can just add this, change this name. For example, I can change it to state.vercel.app. So if it's available, this is going to create it for you. So now our domain name is different. So now simply you can add a listing in your CMS here for sell or rent, and then you can see the changes in real time in your website. That was it for our project. I hope you enjoyed and learned many things. Let me know your opinion about the project in the comment section. I'm gonna give you the link of this final version and also the GitHub repository, so you can check the final code, and also you can download it and use it for yourself. So see you in the next project.